Hey, how's it going, everybody? Happy holidays. Hope everybody's staying safe and warm. I just thought I would take the moment to gather and collect some of my thoughts on Subnautica Below Zero storyline. And I wanted to do a little bit of the golden triangle, a little bit of a rule of thumb. Not necessarily rules for behaving, but it helps whenever you give advice. If you have an issue with something, most people tend to just simply say, I don't like this, or I don't like that. And for the most part, they leave it at that. And it can draw attention to potential flaws and problems, areas that can be worked on and improved. But it's not exactly constructive criticism. To take it a step further, you would point out what the problem is, or whatever problem you perceive, and you would describe why it's a problem. I don't like this because so and so forth. You would explain why it's an issue. And then, to round out that sweet triangle, to get that full three sides, you go one step further, and then you speculate potential fixes. I don't like this because of this, and this. Maybe if you changed it this way, or you did this instead, it might work. And that's not necessarily, this is the problem, it has to go. You did it the wrong way, and then you have to change it the way I want it, or it sucks. It's not, no, I'm not trying to come across like that at all. It's more so, I see a potential flaw. I really think that it's a potential flaw, and let me explain why. And I think there's some ways that these flaws could be fixed, and these issues can be subverted. And that's just my opinion. It's like, hey, I'm just throwing that out there. And everyone can throw it out there. Everyone can throw their opinion out there. An opinion by itself, by its own merit, is not special at all. However, in order to get my opinion a little elevated, or to get it some attention, I try to polish it with that golden triangle, that three-step process. So my opinion's not just dead weight. You can agree with it all day, and if you don't like it, I absolutely want to know why. I love open discourse. But I want it to be taken for what it is, and if it's going to sink or swim on its own merit, then I want it to be because of its own merit. Now, I'm going to speak about Subnautica's Below Zero's three plot lines as it pertains to the story, and I'm going to try to follow what I believe to be the intended progression of story events in the game. So I'm going to kind of be swip hopping around, from one subject to the other. The intro sequence by itself, the way that it starts out, and I may reference the old story, but I'll only bring it up in reference. I'm not going to be considering anything in the old story towards servicing the new one. The player begins with the opening cinematic, and we soon find out the burning wreckage of the shuttle at the end of the cinematic keeps us warm, and there's thermal lilies all around, and we have enough flares. There's nutrient blocks and water. There's enough time that the player doesn't even have to go anywhere or do anything. They can just grab what they need, huddle up for some warmth, and read all the PDA entries and catch up to speed with the current events. We learn why our character, Robin, we learn why we came to this planet, because we've received news of our sibling's death, and the circumstances surrounding our sister's death are very suspicious to us. So, the way that we show up, mechanically, game-wise, we show up, we crash land, we have very few sparse, if not anything. The only supplies we have are like buried emergency essential items. It mimics the gameplay style beginning of the original, but the story doesn't serve that mechanic. In Subnautica 1, we start off in that situation specifically because of circumstances outside of our control. Our ship is shot down. We were well stocked. We were well equipped. We were on a gigantic, massive transwarp class Altera ship, the Aurora, that was long, it was made to go long distance, far out into deep space and build phase gates for other ships to use. It was very well equipped. We got shot down by an alien race with technology better equipped, and we're in an escape pod. The fact that we survived is a miracle. The player can accept and understand, yeah, I don't have anything with me. I'm going to be thankful for anything I have. With Below Zero's beginning, we come to this planet. It's our choice. It's our plan. It's our mission. It feels very weird that we're not better prepared, and not just better prepared mechanically in the game as in what items we brought. I mean, she could have loaded up her PDA with information ahead of time about 4546B, about Altera, about Sector Zero, about the other Altera employees that her sister was working for. I think if she's clever enough and has enough connections to contact a person to get her there, that she would have taken extra steps to prepare herself better. But instead, she seems to very haphazardly, very gung-ho, I'm just going to, I got my two bare hands and, my wits about me, and I'm just going to jump in this and sort it all out. She doesn't seem, the motivations and the choices are jarring. And this is just the intro from a player's very first experience is going to be very powerful in setting the tone for how the rest of the game and the story plans out. And from the get-go, without picking up or finding or locating anything, catching up on primary PDA entries that the player comes equipped with, we are given a perspective of Altera being, for lack of a better word, the big bad evil corporation. And this by itself is not an issue, but as I'll explain, the way that the story pans out, it's very contradictory. We come to learn that nothing Altera did or nothing any Altera employee said or wrote down to the player's knowledge is indicative of any type of bad behavior or questionable behavior or evil intentions. And I'll get to that further on. But for the first time player, they're coming into this, okay, Altera's up to no good. So from the start, they're going to be vigilant. They're going to be observant. They're going to be looking for Altera to mess up. Where can I get them? Where's the evidence? What can I see? What happened to where I can point at that and be like, see, look at that. Altera did that. Altera said that. They're the bad guys, and there's the proof. And we're going to be looking for that, and we're never going to find that for the rest of the game. So from the very get-go, we have plot inconsistencies. The PDA also mentions solving the mystery behind the formation of the landmass of Sector Zero. To my understanding, there's no information in the game, there's no file, there's no asset, there's no PDA entry, there's nothing. It's mentioned at the start, and it's forgotten about. There's no answer to the mystery of the formation of the landmass. It's just there. There's no explanation on why it's in the equator, but it's like an Arctic biome. There's no explanation for that. Another plot hole. So we begin our journey with a whole bunch of expectations. We're looking out for big bad Altera. We're going to figure out who did our sister wrong, and we are motivated. And even though we're not properly prepared, we're going to hop in the water and get ready. I'm probably nearing my 10-minute, my janky free Bandicam trial. I'm cheap in that aspect, but I'll be recording my next video right after this, and that's just the intro cover. Next, I will be getting into our primary plot, which at the start of the game, to the player's knowledge, is simply finding out what happened to Sam. I'll get back with you shortly.